wild card round is finally upon us. A lot of teams that fought their way into the playoffs matching up in this round, which should make for some pretty close games. All the spreads less than a touchdown, most less than a field goal. So the margins should be razor thin. We're going to pick out a couple of key factors for each team. We're going to start with Indy traveling to Houston. To me, the key factor here is T.Y. Hilton. In that first game, he was injured. Might have been the difference in that one. Indy likes to throw those quick passes. You need that threat at the deep shot that Hilton provides, and Houston has been one of the worst, allowing over 14 yards per target on deep throws, which is 31st. Hilton is the key for Indy.
Yeah, and much like Indy, Houston's key is a wide receiver. DeAndre Hopkins is the most valuable non-quarterback in the NFL. He's been able to be that target that Deshaun Watson's been able to go to when he's been pressured. And he's been pressured a lot, 45% highest in the NFL so far this season, but his pass rating when pressured also the highest.
Whoever wins that matchup, the combo that is best might come away with the win in Houston. Moving on, Seattle, Dallas, the nightcap on Saturday. Let's start with Seattle. What's their key?
Yeah, Seattle doesn't do a whole lot sort of fundamentally well. They run too much on early downs. Defensively, they struggle, as you'll talk about on early downs. But they have the star power. Russell Wilson, the sixth best player in the NFL. Per our WAR metric, he's first in big-time throws, those throws that generate sort of the most value on a play-for-play basis. Bobby Wagner is the second most valuable defensive player in the NFL. And so having that kind of star power is allowed them to overcome the deficiencies they've had everywhere else and become a 10-6 team this year.
So looking at where Dallas has some team strengths, it'll be on those early downs. Seattle, the fourth worst defense on first and second down. What does that mean? You can put Dak in shorter third down situations. When you make him a runner and a passer, and you open up the threat of Zeke Elliott, that changes things for Prescott, gets you back to what he was his rookie season. If they can take advantage of that, it gives Dallas a chance in this one. All right, moving right along. Sunday, the early game, a rematch, and a good one. The Chargers now going to Baltimore despite having the better record. Let's start with the hometown Ravens. What's their key?
Yeah, I think it's just like this innovation that they've had over the last, 2 months or so. They've been, in terms of fourth downs, they've gone for fourth down in advantageous situations at a higher percentage than any team in the league. And when they don't go for it on fourth down, their kicker is an absolute boss in Justin Tucker. So that's one edge that they have. And of course, in order to create this, they needed a running quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's been great on scrambles, averaging over 7 yards per carry. But where he's really shined is on designed runs, over 5 yards per carry to the left, over 6 yards per carry to the right. So he's been terrific there. And I think that's really created sort of this exotic offense for Baltimore that's been tough to stop over the last 2 months.
We bag on rushing a lot, but quarterback runs are very strong. They generate a ton of value and they make you a more aggressive team, which is good. For the Chargers, it's pretty simple. Phillip Rivers needs to be given the opportunity to be the top 5 quarterback that he's been this season. 4th overall in our wins above replacement metric. When they played Baltimore last, though, he was under pressure over 50% of the time. 20% more about than his his average rate, which is right about league average. If he's just given the opportunity, he can be a top 5 quarterback. If not, it's going to be a long day for Los Angeles. The nightcap, Sunday Night Football. Nick Foles, St. Nick goes into Chicago. The key for Philly, in my mind, is this. Nick Foles has been on the right side of variance. On first and second down, he's been way worse than Wentz. But on third down, he's been incredible. 10 yards per attempt on third downs, a 130-plus passer rating. The Eagles with Foles over the last 3 weeks have doubled their yards per play on third down. Despite having longer plays to deal with, they're converting them at a higher rate. If he can sustain this other end of variance play that he's had, they can win this game. And if they want to be more efficient on first and second down, I think look to Darren Sproles. 7.3 yards per touch since he came back. Only players higher, Hopkins and Thomas.
Yeah, and if Foles regresses, as the calendar year turns here, I think what will, might have, help Philadelphia is if the same thing happens to Mitch Trubisky. Trubisky's been, pretty bad when under pressure. However, he's only thrown 1 interception in those situations. I think that will regress, especially against the Philly defense that is generating pressure on 39% of non-blitzed dropbacks. That's the lowest blitz rate in the league, but the highest pressure generation on those plays. So Trubisky's going to be under, I think, a little bit more pressure than he's used to. And even though when he's clean this year, he's led the NFL in interceptions from a clean pocket. So I think there's sort of both sides of the coin where Trubisky could give Philadelphia a lot of opportunities here, and even the score here between Nick Foles kind of possibly regressing come January against a Chicago team that I think is favored here by about a touchdown.
The Eagles will probably need to take advantage of those given the state of their defensive backfield. For more, head to ProFootballFocus.com and, of course, subscribe to the PFF Forecast.